For help with that, we're bringing in Executive Vice President of the Commonwealth Foundation and Fellow at Independent Women's Forum, Jennifer Stefano, and Accounting Professor at Montclair State University, Dan Geltrude. Thank you both for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us, Alex.
All right, the market's closing yesterday in the red, and futures are down again this morning ahead of the opening bell. So, Dan, as markets trend lower, is now the time to buy the dip?
Well, certainly there's a dip going on, so there's stocks out there that you probably really liked before, where now you're going to love them because the prices are even lower. However, if we're talking about has the market hit the bottom, I don't think so. I think there's still some room there that the market is still going to be feeling some pain, particularly as interest rates continue to rise.
All right, well, Meta, Facebook's parent company, losing nearly 50% of its market value in the past year. Jennifer, is Meta in trouble, and should investors be worried?
I think investors are worried, as well as the executive leadership over at Meta. They've already told their innovation division, the division responsible for sort of building out the metaverse, that they should expect cutbacks. They're trying new revenue streams by opening up physical stores, bricks and mortar. So I think Facebook is realizing that they cannot invest in some of the innovations that they had wanted to, and that they need to devise new revenue streams beyond what they are already making money from. So I think they're trying to address the problem right away.
Well, as the market's volatility continues, investors look for safer returns. Well, Goldman's chief U.S. equity strategist writing, quote, "We continue to recommend investors own stocks with high dividend yield and growth." So, Dan, is now the time to look for stocks paying dividends?
Yeah, I think so, because the whole point of buying stocks that pay dividends is a hedge against inflation. So when you look at what stocks are doing right now, we just said we're absolutely in a dip. So how you offset that depreciation of stock value is to invest in stocks that are paying dividends. This way you are getting an income flow in spite of the fact that you're feeling pain related to the lack of appreciation in the value of stocks.
All right. Unfortunately, we got to talk gas prices. Yesterday, $4.40. Today, $4.42 a gallon, which is now the all-time high for gas prices. So, Jennifer, what can be done to help end the pain at the pump at this point?
Well, it would be great if the Biden administration's changed its policies that have poured literal kerosene, or figuratively kerosene, on an already terrible cost problem for American workers. And however, the Biden administration recently just canceled leases on federal land for oil and gas companies, and continues to negatively lean on investors to put money into those companies so that they can expand the capacity. So I think until the Biden administration changes its policies, we will not see relief at the pump.
Nobody wants to hear that. All right, let's switch gears completely. Consumers not very fond of Beyond Meat's new plant-based jerky. Shares fell as much as 25% in extended trading. So, Dan, are non-meat alternatives losing their sizzle at this point?
Well, they may be. Look, I always go back to this related to these non-meat substitutes. Is if you're going to take a vegetable and have it taste like a hamburger or a steak, I just don't get that. If you want to taste a steak, buy a steak. If you want to taste a vegetable, buy a vegetable. That's the guidelines I go by anyway.
Yeah, I'm a steak girl myself. All right, how about this? Mattel now releasing the most diverse Barbies yet. Some of the new dolls will include hearing aids, a wheelchair, a prosthetic leg. A company executive saying the new Barbies will, quote, reflect the diversity kids see in the world around them. So, Jennifer, what are your thoughts on these more diverse Barbies?
Oh, I really think it's a very positive thing, especially for children who are differently abled. But what I do find frustrating is they still don't have Barbies of different sizes. I was a kid that was bullied for being overweight, being very short, which I still am. And you know, as an adult, I can cope with it. But as a child, it was very hard, and there was no reflection whatsoever from things like Barbie. So I applaud showing different skin colors, different abilities. really, they just have to recognize not everybody has a tiny waist. And while they have quote unquote curvy girls, that's not sufficient enough. So I just want to put it out there. They should continue to improve upon that.
Well, hopefully they're listening right now, Jennifer. All right, guys, before we leave you, we have another one of those would you even buy this stories. Now, luxury brand Balenciaga has now revealed its latest sneaker for sale. All right, it's a limited edition destroyed sneaker going for a mere $1,800. So, Dan, would you pay that much for an already extremely worn looking sneaker?
Well, as many people know, I am a shoe guy. However, paying almost $2,000 for a sneaker, that's got to do one of two things for me. It's got to bring me Olympic gold,
right?
Or it's got to really appreciate in value where I'm not wearing it.
That's Jennifer. What are your thoughts?
I'm like looking for the stiletto on it. It's a ridiculous. These aren't even a Gucci loafer. You know, maybe that's the only flat I would even consider. Put it in a dividend yielding stock. You'll do much better.
Ah, there you go. Great advice. Jen Stefano, Dan Geltrude, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us.